business of power is the cornerstone of the towns that dot the Pocono Mountains, and Honesdale, Pennsylvania will play host to the most powerful machines in the racing world. Just past the halfway point on the JM Motorsports Summer Series, and a potential champion is still not apparent. With two more machines making their first claim to the series points this weekend, this business of power may have found a new market. That's the view from Irving Cliff overlooking the town of Honesdale, Pennsylvania, where Monster Power is set to bring you JM Motorsports Monster Truck Competition. And we're going to pick up right where we left off last week in Little Valley with Overkill Evolution and the higher education cool bus. Preston Perez back at the wheel of the cool bus. And of course, Overkill Evolution slated to do a backflip at each show, but it's got to be part of his freestyle performance. He cannot just rely on that backflip for points, and it didn't quite go the way he hoped it would. Last night, Mikey was not happy with his performance last night. We'll tell you more about that later in the show. But one of the stories coming into this is everybody here has to do 2 shows this weekend, except for Brandon Budd, who has to do 3. He competed and was very successful at a show in Croton, Ohio. Then he had to pack up after a freestyle victory and drive 8 hours east to here in Honesdale to compete at this show, and he had a pretty good night, save for a loss to Overkill Evolution in the best trick competition. Brandon won racing and freestyle. So stay with us. We're going to be bringing you night 2 coverage from here in Honesdale, but before we do that, we're going to bring you the highlights of some of the wild action that we saw on night number 1. Stay with us. Monster Power returns. Pocono Mountains are the backdrop to the Wayne County Fairgrounds in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. We are moments away from showtime here on night number 2, the Friday night show about to get underway. But before we get into action tonight, we're going to take you back and show you how we got to this point on the series with the Thursday night action. That is Drew Epler in the Iron Warrior, filling in for Matt and Cody, who is expecting a baby any moment. So a big congratulations to Matt and Katie Cody back in Williamsport, Maryland. In the meantime, Drew Epler making his first competition run at the wheel of a monster truck. He's no stranger to the driver's seat, but this is his first competitive showing at the wheel of one of these machines. And Drew, he made a strong showing, but this was unfortunately to be his only competitive run on the weekend. He made it to the starting line around number 1 there. He blew the transmission. He was unable to return for any of the rest of the night number 1 competition. And tonight it'll be John Fitzgerald taking over the wheel of this truck. But Drew set this one up. Didn't stand it up as high as he would like to. But a congratulations go out to him getting the first competition run under his belt, maybe getting some of those butterflies down and out of the way. And he has just recently joined the ranks of the Bigfoot 4x4 team out in Pacific, Missouri. A very bright future in store for this guy. Another guy who had his night cut short was Preston Perez out of Spokane, Washington, in higher education. Before his night was cut short, he made a good showing in the best trick competition, threw down the gauntlet. For the rest of the Voders team and Brandon Budd, you can see Buckshot sitting back over there by the trailer. He was going to be a strong charger. Preston knew it, and he came out big for the best trick competition. Couple of nice hits. He had one more left in him. Turned it around and went for the big one again. Lost the transmission in round 1. It was the end of the night for Preston, but big showing for the big bus out of Maryland. Up next, Brandon Budd and Buckshot. Big Bad Hummer out of Culpeper, Virginia, and Brandon left nothing on the table in the best trick competition. Now, Mike Potter Sr. had already run in the Black Stallion, didn't get quite what he was hoping for. Made a good showing, but at this moment it was Preston Perez leading the charge, so you knew that Brandon had to lay something big on the table. He did it right there. So far, getting the biggest air of the night. And as I said, left nothing on the table. He's not done with this crowd at Honesdale. He knew who was coming up behind him too. It was this guy right here, Mikey Potters, out of Williamsport, Maryland, the Overkill Evolution Machine. Looking a little worse for wear on Friday night. We'll get to that in a moment, but watch what he's about to do. He had to lay something down that no one else was going to go for. Luckily, he was up last. Up on 2, and he rides it out. That move alone netted him the best trick victory. But it was this last hit that cemented it. Big hit off the center mound. And there it is, Mikey Butters II, your best trick winner. Night number 1 in Honesdale. On to the racing bracket. We're going to go straight to the final round because, as we mentioned, damage to both the Iron Warrior and Higher Education machines, unfortunately. As the sun set, Michael Vodders in Black Stallion and Brandon Budd rolled up to the starting line to finish off the racing bracket. There you saw in the background Preston Perez being pushed off by the equipment. He went off on the hook. There you see the round 1, how it worked out. Iron Warrior, Bone Transmission trying to go up against Black Stallion, and Brandon Budd took down an Ailing, and also damaged transmission on the Higher Education machine of Preston Perez. This was the finals on night number 1. Big, long oval. 2 jumps on each side. And you can see they're a lot more aggressive on this backside, so it was to your advantage to be in that lane, but Brandon Budd cut a beautiful corner and would come across the finish line. Your racing champion in Honesdale on Thursday night. Michael Vodders, Sr., would roll the Black Stallion back into the pit area, get that truck ready for freestyle. We only had 3 trucks left to go in the freestyle competition, and one of them just took the racing victory. Brandon Budd out of Culpeper, Virginia, adding a few more points to that total. Rolling on into freestyle now. Let's see what Brandon laid down in that freestyle run, because we knew it was going to be a good one. Mentioned at the top of the show, Overkill Evolution had to include in his run a backflip. That actually made it harder on him. He had to lay down some kind of run before that. These guys knew all they had to do was be strong, a little bit spectacular, a little bit over the edge, and they would make life very difficult for the man out of the state of Maryland. Was second to none on this night. Nobody matched him as far as momentum. Brandon laying down a marathon run in the big Hummer out of Culpeper, Virginia. And we had mentioned that he had made a lot of changes over the summer to this truck. You can see how much more built up the front end, the big roll cage that he's put in that truck. You can see the tubing sticking out of the windshield. He feels so much more confident in that machine, and it's showing. He's got the suspension tuned up just a little bit differently, a little stronger. Knows the truck better. He's been driving it day in and day out. Not just a weekend warrior. This is what this guy does. He and the family on the road full time now. And again, it shows each and every time. He's been getting bookings just a little bit higher brow. and he knows just what that truck will do. He's much more spatially aware than he's ever been, and again, much more confident in the equipment that he's got underneath of him. Huge leap out the backside. That center mound could have been a home wrecker, but these guys used it to perfection. Brandon Button Buckshot wound it down with a major gauntlet thrown for this guy. Mikey Waters out of Williamsport, Maryland, Overkill Evolution. See, they took the hood off for this. Just in case. And it was a good thing they did, because they left an alien laying in the dirt in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. Watch what happens. Broken steering line in the rear end. There you see the face of a very disappointed Mikey Waters. The fans loved it. He had laid down a little bit of a run prior to that, but nothing like what he was hoping for. Net himself a few points there, but as a disappointed Mikey Waters climbs out of the inverted seat of the Overkill Evolution machine, you know he's going to take that disappointment and gear up for night number 2. This could be a wild night coming up in front of him. We're going to show you real quick what happened, though. First from on board, this was the view he had. You hear that pop of the steering line going. We had talked to Mike after this, and he said had that steering line not broken, he probably could have powered out of it with no control over the direction of the rear wheels. When he powered into it, just threw the truck over on its side. A little bit over-rotated, but that wasn't really the problem. He went up the ramp just a little bit sideways. If you were able to stand in front of that ramp at the end of the night, you could actually see where the left-hand side of the truck had exited the blocks just a little bit too far over. Bang! See the puff of the hydraulic fluid coming out. Mike Waters not laying down the run he was hoping for, but an awesome effort. Had the fans on their feet, and as I said, he left one of those alien heads laying in the dirt in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. That'll be hanging on the wall for years to come. Stay with us. More to come. Wayne County, Pennsylvania, Honesdale to be exact, the Wayne County Fairgrounds, getting ready for their annual Monster Truck Bash. Buckshot and the Cool Bus leaving the track as we get set for the best trick competition here on night number 2. This is the way the points look. After last night's round 6, you can see Buckshot has now jumped up to the number 1 spot after 2 very successful events, and you see JRC Sock making some ground in Basher on the Avenger machine. Then it's Heavy Hitter and Extreme Diesel rounding out the top 5. Just below them in position 6, 7, and 8 are Higher Education, Bigfoot, and Overkill Evolution. So Higher Education and Overkill Evolution stand to gain the most on this weekend. The only problem is Overkill Evolution does not have a spot in the racing bracket because of the backflip he has to do during the freestyle competition. So it'll be very important for him to try to win this best trick competition to get that momentum up that he's going to lose from not competing in the racing bracket. Here comes John Fitzgerald in the Iron Warrior. Nice hit to start things off, Fitzgerald. And some nice hang time there.
He's coming out with another hit. What do we stop for it? Oh, is he going to go big right off the bat? There he is.
Big hit right there for John Fitzgerald.
Right.
Strong start so far to the best trick competition. One more big one off a fresh car on top of that. Now they've reset a lot of the obstacles for today's action. They brought in plenty of iron to give both days fans a good show. John Fitzgerald Starting things off strong in the Iron Warrior. As he heads back to the pits, we prep for the second truck out in the lineup. That will be Preston Perez out of Spokane, Washington, trying to make up for his losses last night. He did great in the best trick competition, but blown transmission in round one of racing. Hopefully he can keep that truck or that bus here together tonight. Here in Honesdale, as you watch from the top of the pyramid, Preston cruising on around. Lines it up. Wants to hit it nice and straight. He's got some fresh fan to pick on over there. Let's see what he does. Big time for Preston Perez. Preston. Make his way back around. I'm sure he's got at least one more good hit left in that bus. So far, matched John Fitzgerald. Let's see if he can outdo him here with number 2. Another nice hit for Preston Perez. Definitely putting himself in the conversation. Cutting into a donut. Kicking the dust up here in Wayne County. Nice run for Preston out of Spokane, Washington. We're getting some good seat time in this summer in the cool bus. Here comes Mike Votter Sr. in the Black Stallion, starting things off big. Two big hits, getting bounced around a little bit there. He had to straighten out so he didn't get into the backflip ramp over there on the other side. But a good run from Michael Votter Sr. so far. He's going to go for one more hit. Nice. Hang time off of that. And a fourth hit. Snuck in another one.
All right, who do you think's winning so far? Higher education?
It sounds like he and higher education might be tied right now. Here's a guy who can break the tie, Brandon Budd out of Culpeper, Virginia in Buckshot. Brandon, hard runner. We know that already. Very successful night number 1. Nice hang time. Remember, he's the guy that cut out the donut, the extra move at the end for him.
Wow.
So you know he's got something for this crowd. Oh, he tried the two-wheel move. He knew Mike was going to give it another shot. Brandon didn't leave it there for him. And he's going to give us a little bit of a dust down over here. Thought he might go for a donut. Looks like he's going to wrap it up with that awesome move. That leaves 1 to go. That guy right there. Mikey Foggers. So Brandon throws down the challenge in Buckshot. Mikey has to come and match him. Mike Fodders, the second out of Hagerstown, Maryland. And you can see the body damage on the truck. They didn't put the hood back on. Oh, he's coming after him. This is going to turn into a mini freestyle real quick. Watch this. And he's getting some nice shots. And that's, oh, a big launch off the back of the racing lane. Had to do something different. He is going to give us the two-wheel. Yeah, he is. Nicely done, almost into the stunt ramp over there. There's a ramp-to-ramp car jump here tonight. Mikey just took the best trick competition victory. Good run for him there.
Okay, so I'm going to say is wow. What do you think of that one?
On board, you can see him lock it up right in front of the ramp.
See why I told you it'll be a good show tonight?
Acknowledges the crowd. And now I mentioned that stunt ramp sitting center track. You can probably get an idea from the setup of what's supposed to happen there. You see the entrance ramp. Between the entrance ramp and the landing ramp, the Silver Dodge. Question is, what's going over the Silver Dodge? It's this 1937 Dodge being driven by Jumpin' Johnny Weiser out of Sacramento, California. Basically a stock vehicle. Johnny has been doing this since 1972. He is the president of the Black Cat Hell Drivers. You see the namesake and logo on the side of the car. He has been around this game for a long time. He did the T-bone crash, many rollovers. He was a motorcycle stunt rider. Now this is his claim to fame after time spent with the Toyota Hollywood Stunt Show in the Hollywood stunt world. Johnny will take the car down by the livestock pavilion almost to the highway entrance. He'll turn it around, and if all goes well, he should leave the Silver Dodge at center track untouched. Here he comes, Jumpin' Johnny Weiser. Up and over. A successful jump for Johnny Weiser. Said he did this 37.5 times. And you can guess what a half means. Big applause from the crowd here in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on the successful jump for Jumpin' Johnny out of Sacramento. One more look at him from the front. Jumpin' Johnny Weiser out of Sacramento coming right at you. There's more to come. Stay with us. Back at the Wayne County Fairgrounds in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, getting ready for round one of show number 2. You see Preston Perez on the starting line waiting for John Fitzgerald to make his way out and get staged. This will be for the first few points in the racing bracket. 5 points on the line altogether. Anytime you stage up, you get 3 points immediately for making the starting line. It's another 2 points for any round you win. You see Jay Milligan headed to the top of the mound to throw the green flag. Drops the flag and a good start. Both trucks, Fitzgerald with a little bit of a jump off the line. Into the first turn, Fitzgerald with a better corner. Perez having some trouble. He'll have to try to make up the ground. Getting real aggressive in the final corner, though. Perfect turn for Perez, and he will head across the finish line with the first round victory. Fitzgerald sailing over the second jump on the outside lane. From the stands, he'll head back to the pits. Bring out our next pair. John Fitzgerald will have to come back for the consolation bracket. Try to earn a few more points. Here comes Brandon Budd in Buckshot. This is last night's racing champion here in Honesdale. He's going to match up with the guy he took on in the final round last night. That's Michael Vodder Sr. out of Hagerstown, Maryland in the Black Stallion Ford. Big Roush 8 horsepower on the side closest to our camera. There you see Brandon Budd and Buckshot lining up on the grandstand side. We are just about to throw the flag for the second matchup of round number 1. Jay Milligan to the top of the mound. There it goes. Good start for both trucks, pretty even over the first jump. Little bit of a lead to Michael Vodders as he heads around the turn. Vodders now way in the lead. Brandon Budd trying to pick up some distance as he gets aggressive in the final leg. Not gonna do it. Michael Vodders already there. Black Stallion will gain revenge from last night's final round loss. He'll head to another final round. Brandon Budd will head to the third place race. Michael Vodders taking a little round money out of this one. We know it's going to be two Vodders trucks in the final round. Preston Perez more than making up for his problems on night number one as we bring Brandon Budd right back to the starting line to start the consolation race between he and John Fitzgerald.
All right, here we go. Jason's up on the mound. Who wants first shot?
Bit of a disappointed driver on the grandstand side. You know Brandon Budd wanted that win. He wanted another final round berth. He's bumped himself way up in points. This will help him though, if he can get a win here. Fitzgerald with some problems, bounced over toward the barricades, and now Brandon Budd just is going to have to keep it straight through the end. He's got a big lead going into the final turn. Very aggressive run. Dirt tracking it around, and he's going to ease over the finish line jump for the victory as John Fitzgerald cruises Iron Warrior across the finish line. Brandon Budd. Not a bad run. He'll pull 8 points total out of that racing bracket. John Fitzgerald will 6. Trying to get Iron Warrior up there in points for when Matt Cody returns to the seat of that truck on this series a month from now. That'll be in Topsfield, Massachusetts. Did you see what just happened right there? Preston Perez was headed out to the outside starting line, and Michael Vodders straight up cut him off. Took the lane choice away. Trying to get in the employee's head a little bit right here. Let's see what happens. Michael Vodders Sr. and Preston Perez for the final round here in Honesdale. Michael Vodders sitting confident on that starting line as he goes into this final round match with his own truck. Preston would love to knock down the boss right here. Let's see what happens. Drop the flag and it go. Pretty even start. Actually, both trucks fairly conservative up the first pair of obstacles. And now Vodders with the lead going into the second straight. Evened it up at this point. Final turn. Who can get there first? Perez very aggressive as they head for the finish line. A little bit of a checkup, but it will be Preston Perez in higher education, taking the big points out of the racing bracket. Big donut at the end for the fans, and that will be 10 points to the total of the Cool Bus out of Williamsport, Maryland. Preston taking the truck back to the pits. He's going to stop over here in front of his fans and accept the accolades. Freestyle is next. Who will take the victory? Stay with us. They hear the backing call of track announcer Tim Howard getting the freestyle kicked off with John Fitzgerald, the Iron Warrior. John out of Hudson, New Hampshire. Very, Very aggressive driver. He has the ride trick here this weekend as well. So this guy, nothing to lose. He's got somebody else's equipment to go around here. Let's see what he does. Nice hit there. First few hits, and he's getting some nice air, keeping the momentum going. Again, trying to lay down some good points for Matt Cody. Jumps back in this machine. He'll be getting back in the seat in about 2 weeks, but it won't be another month before we start laying some points down here for this series. That'll be again in Topsfield, Massachusetts, indoors. That'll be in September. John Fitzgerald here in the dog days of August. Throwing around the Iron Warrior Ford racing machine. Hard hit on the left side, takes the bedside off. Fitzgerald getting the big air. See what he's got left in the Iron Warrior. Up over the racing lane. That's going to wind it down for John Fitzgerald. A good run for the Iron Warrior to start things off here in Wayne County, Pennsylvania. Strong run out of John. Let's see what see if he can keep that through a couple trucks here at least. It's going to be a tough run to beat. He really threw it into the air on that move right there. You see the bedside coming off. That bed was looking a little worse for wear already when they rolled into Honesdale. Here comes Preston Perez. Higher education. This will be the first time he's freestyled this weekend as he takes a hard landing on the left front. He has a real affinity for landing on that left front axle. Nice sky wheelie off of that obstacle. Use the torque, the sheer torque of that machine to throw it skyward. Got the noise level up, got the momentum up, giving this crowd at Honesdale the ultimate thrill as the cool bus makes its way around the track. Another good hit out of Preston Perez.
You gotta love it.
He is catching some nice air in the cool bus. Looked like he was setting up for one, maybe feeling the dirt out a little bit as he gets another nice jump off of the backside of the roller ramp in the racing lane as he heads back down center track. Let's see what Preston's got left. Higher education out of Williamsport, Maryland. Preston by way of Spokane, Washington. Gets a long way from home. Trying to get real aggressive. Well, that's not a good sign. The truck's still running and it's not going anywhere. And I think he just broke an input shaft of the transmission, but it couldn't have picked a better time to let go because he was about to wrap up that run. Preston Perez and higher education getting a cheer from the crowd. He turned it up a notch, and I think he just took over the lead here in freestyle. Again, that hard lick on the left front tire. Some big hang time in this run. This was that high torque sky wheelie. I mean, look at this. From barely a crawl up the ramp, and he just stands it on the rear wheels. And then you see right there, this was that little bit of a slap wheelie he was able to pull out of this. He came down hard on the front end, stood it up, didn't ride it out because there was an obstacle there, and then the pits on the other side very wisely backed out of it. But he made a run there. You see the man himself, Preston Perez, talking to Kevin Rico, trying to figure out what they're going to do to get this truck off the track. But you got to be happy with a run like that. The fans still cheering as they try to work on the truck. Preston, he will get back inside this machine to steer it off the track. He unfortunately will be going off on the hook. There you see Michael Vauders in Black Stallion about to take his starting position to begin his freestyle run. He got beaten by the guy you just saw in the cool bus. I guarantee you Michael Vauders wants to take out a little bit of aggression on this track here.
Tuesday of next week, I'll throw this up together.
We get ready to take one more look at a few more moves out of Preston Perez run. This is from the ground cam. You see the going Ferris wheel in the background. A nice launch off that little roller right there. He got a lot out of very little on the front side of this track, and then this is where it all went wrong. But again, he was just about to wrap this thing up. That donut would have been the icing on the cake. That was a solid run by Preston Perez, throwing dirt all over the Wayne County Fairgrounds. As Michael Vauders Sr. out of Hagerstown, Maryland gets set to bring the safety clean Black Stallion Ford racing engine entry out to freestyle. Nice first hit. You can see he's getting aggressive with it. He's got that momentum up already. He does not want to let Preston Perez walk out with a racing victory and a freestyle victory. Round the backside there. Now they can't make any moves back there, unfortunately. It's a safety area, so we will see what Michael Vauders has in store. And the safety clean Black Stallion steps up right here. Nice hit. The tire is off. And right into the front of the toter. Vauders has just busted the headlight out of his own tractor trailer. That thing took a lick. The crew looking around. That's why those toters are there. They park the toters out like that just in case something went wrong, and they serve their purpose.
I guess the best part of that whole thing was it's his own toter.
Watch the landing right here. It's hard to see from our vantage point, but you'll see the wheel just bust right off. That was a spindle letting go. And it looks like there may have been a failure on some other parts, unfortunately. However, it may have been the first two jumps he made, as we're going to look at right here. Watch the right front on this landing. Took a lick right there. There's a pretty good chance he did some damage on that landing right there. And then this one less than likely. This one less likely was the culprit, excuse me. But that first hit, he took a lick, hit a ton on that right front, and then just that little bounce, and that tire rolled right in. Fortunately, it was his own hauler that he hit. Nobody injured. We move on to the next vehicle in line. Brandon Budd in Buckshot. He's got to lay down a strong one. Mikey Vauders has the backflip in his run. That would be six in the hole, but he's still got to put on a good run. The Overkill Evolution Machine. We saw that very thing happen last night. He was cut short when he rolled the truck over, so Brandon Budd knows if he can lay down a spectacular run here, he can put the kibosh on a successful night for Mikey Vauders and set him back even further on this point series. Brandon Budd is looking so strong right now on the JM Motorsport Productions Summer Point Series, and he's looking real strong in the competition area of the Wayne County Fairgrounds. He is getting some nice hits, and again, he's had some of the best momentum here this weekend. He lines up for another hit of one of these elevated stacks. That's the step up right there, and he does a nice job. Another big hit. Remember, he's the one that yesterday flew that thing off the backside of the center mount. They took that center mount out. All that's left now is a bunch of step-ups, so you're going to have to really, really turn it on. Hey, he's going out around Vauders' truck. I don't think he was going to use it as an obstacle as he heads at another elevated band stack with some nice hang time. He is getting some beautiful launches out of this thing. I'd say at this point he has at least matched Preston Perez as he cuts it into a donut. There, I thought he was going to go for a donut. Let up on it. Let's see what he has left for us. Knew he wasn't going to take it easy. Carrying so much ground speed on this run, and he's making it work for him as he heads around the backside of the backflip ramp And I think that's going to be it. From Brandon Budd and Buckshot. Big cheers out of the crowd here. The question is, did Preston Perez hold on to the spot or did Brandon Budd take it over? Pretty close. Pretty close. A lot of hang time for both of those trucks, but a whole lot of air time for the Buckshot. Look at that.
How you liking it so far, Honesdale?
Again, he knew who was coming up behind him. He knew the ace in the hole that Mikey Vauders is supposed to have on this evening, and he was not going to make it easy for him. Look at this hang time heading out the backside of the track. And he did it proper. He let off when he was getting back there behind that ramp. That's what they were told to do at the drivers' meeting. That's what he did. Here comes Mike Vauders now out of Williamsport, Maryland. The truck just died on him. What's going on here? Refired it. Here we go. Mikey Vauders out of Williamsport, Maryland. Well, that's off again. Boy, you can read the body language on him. That's it. Mikey says it's done. Steering wheel comes off. This could be bad news for the big Ford out of Maryland. Mike Vauders II, very disappointed look on his face. Again, you can see the body language. He's trying to refire this thing. It does not want to go. You can hear the engine idle up kind of high. I'd hate to think he was having those same fuel problems he had last week in New York. It cost him a bunch of points, and it may do the same thing to him here. He's getting out of the truck. Huge development here in Honesdale. Stay with us. We will find out what is going on when we come back to Wayne County.
Try it again. Hold it to the floor. All right. Go. Nothing.
Well, that seems to be the word of the evening. Right there, Preston Perez, you can see the look on his face. You can hear the tone in Mike Vauders Sr.'s voice. You can see the body language of Mike Vauders II. Very disappointed on this night. This truck will not run. It is once again leaning out. Fuel problems again for this truck. What does that mean? Well, Mike Vauders II ran over while they were working on Overkill Evolution. Said, Brandon Budd, you want to try this backflip. Brandon already made his competition run. This isn't for points. He said, yeah, I'll take a shot at it. He's never backflipped this truck. It may not do it. This is just for the fans. They were promised a backflip. Mikey said they're going to get a backflip. Brandon said, yeah, I'm going to make a shot at it. We'll see what happens. There you see from the ramp itself the steel cold eyes of Brandon Budd as he lines up what may be a total disaster or it may be an awesome success. We're about to find out. Brings the engine up. Here comes Brandon Budd. I'll tell you what. He gave it everything it had. Brandon Budd turned turtle here in Honesdale. But you hear the crowd in the background. They got his show. Mikey Vauders, Mike Vauders Sr., Preston Perez, Kevin Rico, Drew Epler, John Fitzgerald, and finally Brandon Budd. And of course the crew here at JM Motorsport Productions made sure somebody hit that backflip ramp before the night was over. Here it is, right from the ramp. Frame digs into the ground. It was not going over, or at least it was going over. It wasn't going all the way over though. Brandon Budd, good effort. And some big points on the board tonight. You see he remains in the #1 spot, but look where Preston Perez is after this weekend. Higher Education with 53 points moves into second place, followed by Avenger, Basher, and Heavy Hitter rounding out the top 5. But you know who you don't see on that board is Overkill Evolution. They're falling back in points. They got to get those gremlins figured out. But this guy had a good night. Brandon Bud and Buckshot now sitting #1 in points. As we leave Honesdale, Pennsylvania, we will see you in a month for us, a week for you in Topsfield, Massachusetts. For all of us at Monster Power, we will see you next week.